Hey guys, it's time on Deep Junk. We are going to work on one of my most favorite cars of all time, 1970 Monte Carlo. The first gen cars, 70 to 72. I had a ton of them. I absolutely love the cars. This one, the Hot Wheels Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift Monte Carlo. It's got some decent detail on it. It's a plastic base, but it's got the frame rails on it there, and some engine detail, exhaust, the correct tips back there are on the back for a Monte SS. We're going to make it look like one that I had in high school, and we are going to get rid of those black wheels, George. Alright guys, stay tuned. Alrighty guys, as promised, yeah, body, like usual, they don't look too bad before you get the paint off of them. That one's, I've got another one floating around here, and it looks pretty good too. I don't see anything through the paint, so that's a good sign. Tinted glass, blue, I guess we gotta live with that. This interior, boy, leaves a lot to be desired. That dash, it don't look like a Monte Carlo dash. They do have a console in there. The bucket seats are all blocky. I guess you get what you get for $1, huh guys? And like we looked at underneath there, some decent detail on that. We will be ditching the wheels in favor of something a little bit more classy. So we'll just dump her on in the stripper, the sauce, and get it going. Get my little thing there, put that down in there. I don't get no bloop 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 noise this time, just went boop. Alright. Okay guys, the Monte Carlo body, this thing is really pretty nice. I didn't see much through the paint. It's got a line across the back deck there, very fine line. It's not you know, anything big. Shit out of the way there so you can see it. It's got a little, looks like a little divot there in that taillight housing at the back side of a quarter. We've got a little mark over across the front of the hood. Again, light. It's not real big. And then they usually have some casting lines down the roof. Funny thing is, on this, these casting lines follow right where the vinyl top would be on a Monte Carlo. You would have the large centerpiece, and then the two that go down the side to the pillar, to the B pillar back here, would follow outside here at the edge and work back. You would also have another piece that was under the rear window, between the rear window and the deck. But that's right about where that seam would be on a vinyl top for one of these cars. And then, of course, around the window openings, they would go down so far, but you could see paint exposed around the window openings all the way around the front. The bottom, the rockers, yeah, not bad. I mean, they need smoothed out, of course, but really surprising. A good surprise for a change. Ready, we're on the Monte Carlo, and the body really looks good. I spent just a little time with the file on it, on a couple places up over the roof where there were some casting lines, to the back on the rear quarter. Not big, it was one up on the hood. All of the casting lines that were in it were light. It didn't take very long to take them off. I used pretty much the weight of the file just to do it. The rockers, where usually I'm, you know, cleaning up on these cars and up in the wheel openings and the wheel wells, that was really clean. The window openings, where we spend a lot of time cleaning it, they needed a little work, not much. So now I'm just down to the green scuff pad, that little piece, just cleaning it up, and then we will clean the metal and get some primer on it and give it a look over, smooth out that primer, give it a look over, see if there's anything that I missed, and then maybe later tonight start paint. Nice car, really. I'm gonna do this like one that I had bought with a bad motor in it, and it had a 402, which is like a 396, I guess you'd want to call it, from the factory. It did not have air conditioning. It had power steering and power brakes on it. I don't even remember what transmission was in it. But it had a bad bottom end knock when I got the car. It was a dark green color with rallies, and it was a custom. So it was one of 2 customs I owned back then, and the car did not have a vinyl top on it, which I thought maybe someone had pulled it off and painted it, but it was from the factory with no vinyl top, which was kind of odd because those cars, I thought they all came with vinyl tops automatically, but no, they had a sport version, they called it, which was kind of the entry Monte Carlo. It did have bucket seats and a console. It had the gauges in it, factory tack. Greens that were popular. It was a dark green with dark green interior. The other car that I had was a custom. It was that beige color without a vinyl top, and it was optioned out similar. It had a bucket seats and console. It come with the large hubcaps on that they shared with the Caprice, and they also came on Corvette too. It was a cool looking hubcap, but that car was a 350 car from the factory with a 350 automatic transmission. And I ended up putting in that green car, I ended up putting a 454 in it. A little bit of camshaft, a loose torque converter, 411s out back. Nice dual exhaust. It was quiet until you jumped on it and had a nice little roar to it. Hood so long on those cars you could land airplanes on them. Make a damn Navy carrier out in the ocean. Alright, that's about all with that. It was pretty much, before I got on here, it was pretty much done. I just went a long ways with the car, cleaned everything up. Now we'll hit it with the metal cleaner, and then it'll be on the primer. Alrighty guys, I squirted a little primer on the Monte Carlo, and now I'm getting ready to do this chassis. What I've done is I've just stuck some masking tape on the bumpers so I don't completely destroy the chrome on those. And then the chassis, I'll just take use my green scuff pad and knock the shine off of it, and then barely dust it with some primer, and then hit it with black paint. First, though, I actually should have said first, I'm going to take these little backing plate things off. They're small on the Monte Carlo, but they do, you can still see them when you're looking at the car, so we'll get rid of those things, clean it up real nice, knock the chrome shine off, a little dusting with primer, a little black paint, and then we can start a little engine detail and put some exhaust on this thing. Oh yeah. Alrighty, then I'll go ahead. We've got our things cut off there. I'll go ahead and sand and clean them up a little bit around those edges. I'm going to clean this, put some fresh tape on them bumpers, and then go ahead and shoot a little primer and a little black on it. Simple as that. Alrighty guys, Monte Carlo took a turn for the worst here. I had it painted and it was looking really good. I did the dark green on it, like the car used to have, darkened the paint up. It looked really good. I had dust in the hood, just one little piece, and it was a larger piece and it looked terrible. So I wet sanded the hood, shot it with 2 more coats of green. Really looked nice, and then I decided, as usual, to throw it on the floor. Actually, I dropped it, and left front, right on the fender there. It chipped it pretty bad, and it was a big enough chip out of it that I didn't think I could, wet sand it and feather it to make it look great, without it being seen. So back to the stripper. I've got it to the point where I can clean it up now, get all the paint stripper and stuff out of the cracks and door lines and stuff. Go ahead and clean it real good and get it back into primer, and we'll paint it one more time. The chassis is blacked out, that's dry. I still need to get up close to the bumpers. I'll touch up there and I can start detail. Interior I probably won't do anything with until I'm waiting for paint to dry on the body. Alrighty. Alrighty guys, the 70 Monte Carlo is all finished. I've got to say, I really like this car. I like all my builds, but some you get kind of an attachment to. I really like the way this car came out, in spite of dust and then dropping on the floor. I didn't get as much of build in there that I wanted to on this video. We did do double tone, 2-tone black in the interior insets and seats and the dash pad, the chassis and stuff. There was a lot of done off camera, so I apologize for that. This one is, of course, made to look like my Monte Carlo Custom when I was in high school. I had 2 of those cars, and I thought that somebody had, painted the car at one time, took the vinyl top off, but no, it came that way. No vinyl top. The Custom was your entry-level Monte Carlo. The car did have a factory 402, 400 automatic, buckets and console, the factory tachometer in it, and when I bought the car, it had a terrible bottom end knock, so the 402 come out in favor of a 454. Pretty much just a cam swap, rocker arms and push rods, did valve springs, a good intake and carb, and then of course dual exhaust with some stainless steel mufflers, give it a real good sound. It was code 48 forest green, like this car, and that green was also used on Chevelle and El Camino. I'd say that hood, if I remember correctly, was the longest in GM history, but it might be the longest hood period in a, I guess they had said period, but I would think there'd be longer ones on older cars maybe, but it always reminded me of a damn flight deck on a Navy carrier. So up front we've got our grill detail in there, a little bit on the turn signals, the red knight's head in the center of the grill up there. I like that. It was 1 year only for 1970, because it spelled out 1970 and Roman numerals across the knight's helmet. Up the side, all that stainless trim on Monte Carlo is famous for. Black accents in there, and then the marker lights, door handles, and then window trim up around the side glass. Windshield and the rear window is also done. And our rear tail lights, the reverse lights, and the factory outlets there, the exhaust tips. And same thing up the driver's side, looking like a pro touring car. And underneath, about the usual for deep junk, we've got our engine and transmission, little Chevrolet engine orange in there, dual exhaust back to mufflers and then tailpipes, and I left the tips chrome. See, I did spin the yellow line tires around. I thought about leaving them out, but it was just too much, just too busy on this car. It's hard to see inside that dual tones on the dash and stuff with it put together. And that's about it. It is, like I said, code 48 buried under a couple coats of clear, painted twice for good measure. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I want to thank everyone. Some new subscribers that came on here this last week. Thank you. Thanks to everyone who has been here. Coming up March 28th, Saturday, March 28th is the Deep Junk Garage Race Car Challenge. It's open to anyone in the community. Put a video together, show your build. You're not limited to any kind of car or truck. You can, whatever your shop, what you would have there and race or sponsor. Anything from, you know, bracket racing your wife's minivan to a fuel funny car. It could be desert racing, you know, Baja, or you could be drifting in parking lots for all I care. Whatever you would have fun in, it's up to you. Comes from your mind and your likes, your taste. If you would, if you haven't already, go over to the video that I first put up. Leave your name in there. I'm going to put together a little directory with everyone in it who is taking part, and we'll get that up soon. Again, thanks everybody for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.